Ocean resources. Reported by Darwin Amazona, Aldrin Gasilius, Jimbert Deraya, Rachel Camacho, and Zyron Joy Daga.
Ocean resources. Ocean resources provide jobs, goods and services for billions of people around the world and have immense economic importance. Their resources include food, fuel, renewable energy, minerals, sand and gravel, and tourism. Sustainable development and management of ocean resources is widely recognized by the international community and required for sustainable human being. Importance of ocean resources. The ocean is an important source of resources. Ocean waters are filled with huge amounts of plants and animals among the oceans. Most important resources are its fish and shellfish. The ocean is the heart of the planet. Water covers more than 2/3 of Earth's surface. Sea plants like Posidonia produce 70% of oxygen we breathe, and deep waters are home to wildlife and some of the biggest creatures on Earth. It provides us with food, jobs, life and entertainment, and sealing. Without it, we cannot survive.
Ocean resources, issues and problems.
The oceans are home to many unique organisms, including the largest blue whale, and it is home to hundreds of ecosystems full of vibrant and colorful life forms. However, it is also used as one of our largest dumping grounds and extraction of fish and other marine life forms, and it continues at an unsustainable pace. This, along with other factors, are affecting life in our oceans. Number one is overfishing. Overfishing causes. Number one is massive depletion of many species. Number two, loss of breeders. Number three, declines in average sizes of fish and other marine creatures. Number four, loss of genetic diversity. Number five, genetic change toward less desirable characteristic like smaller size potential fish. Number six is disruption of natural communities. Number seven, disruption of human communities. Simultaneous overfishing of many species leads to functional loss of species or species groups. By overfishing, we are destroying our entire ecosystems and the food chains where are essentials to keep them thriving. So not only is overfishing wiping entire species out, it also having a different impact on other species in the food web. Number two problem is plastics. So between 1.15 and 2.41 million tons of plastic enter the ocean every single year. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is collection of rubbish in the Pacific Ocean, is now 3 times the size of France. So many plastic enter the ocean every year. Animals can get tangled in the huge amount of plastic, which litter the ocean, and the plastic smothers and destroys coral and sponges. Number three problem is irresponsible fish farming. So large-scale aquaculture can have significant environmental consequences. It can take a lot of wild fish to feed certain farm fish, and when tons of fish are crowded together, they create a lot of waste, which can pollute the ocean. Fish farms can also be breeding grounds for disease. So, as more people inhabit the earth, there is more demand for food, and one response is to grow as many fish as quickly as possible.
Ocean resources allocation management. Number one is promote coastal and marine tourism. It is very important of the coastal area in developing sustainable tourism. Although these coastal and marine resources clearly provide amenities for tourism activities, there is the need for focus on practical concerns of environmental protection if the area will continue to serve as a viable resources for alternative tourism. Locally, although efforts have been made in the designating pristine coastal areas as parks, reserves, and sites of specific scientific interest, there has to be an enhanced framework for monitoring and management as suggested by highlighting the need for sustainable tourism development. Number 2 is stop industrial practices on the continental shelf and onshore areas. The onshore infrastructure need to support offshore drilling and serious impacts on the environment, public health, and coastal communities. Offshore drilling relies on onshore pipelines, waste disposal facilities, ports, and refineries that endanger public health by polluting the air and water, and treating wildlife and ecosystem. Number 3 is protection of coastal zones, an island by mangrove afforestation. Mangroves protect shorelines from damaging storms and hurricane winds, waves, and floods. Mangroves also help prevent erosion by stabilizing sediments with their tangled root systems. They maintain water quality and clarity, filtering pollutants and trapping sediments originating from land. Number 4 is stop land-based pollution like plastic, polythene, toxic substance, and untreated industrial effluents from entering the sea. 80% of marine pollution comes from land pollution, source included untreated sewage, agricultural runoff, oils and heavy metals from industry, and sediment washed in from earthworks and laggings. And lastly, number 5 is establish a rigorous marine-oriented monitoring and assessment facility. Monitoring the state of the ocean is necessary to characterize and understand coastal and ocean dynamics and vulnerabilities at different temporal and spatial scales, and to measure the impacts of global and local conditions and of human activities.
Fisheries and marine-related policies in the Philippines. Presidential Decree on Fisheries 1975, number 704 of 1975, prescribes rules for marine fisheries and inland fisheries, including the list of fish ponds, and to a certain extent, exportation and importation. The purpose of this decree is to accelerate and promote the integrated development of the fishery resources of the country in optimum productive condition through proper conservation and protection. It establishes the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources for the management, conservation, development, protection, utilization, and disposition of all fishery and aquatic resources of the country. For the implementation of the policy approved by the country, a Fishery Industry Development Council is established. The decree establishes the conditions required with respect to commercial fishing, deep sea or offshore fishing, and municipal fishing. Fisheries Code Republic Act No. 8550, an act providing for the development, management, and conservation of fisheries and aquatic resources, integrating all laws pertinent thereto, and for other purposes. The Code makes provision for the management and conservation of fisheries and aquaculture in the Philippines and the reconstitution or establishment of fisheries institutions both at the national and local level. It is declared policy to limit access to the fishery and aquatic resources of the Philippines for the exclusive use and enjoyment of all citizens, including women and youth sectors. Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act, Republic Act No. 8435, a policy instrument defining measures to modernize Philippine agriculture for the country to compete in the global market. The underlying principle behind this policy is to improve the living conditions of farmers and fisher folk and increase their productivity amidst the growing needs of the markets. In general, AFMA aims to transform the agriculture and fisheries sectors to technology-based and advanced and competitive industry, ensure that the small farmers and fisher folk have equal access to assets, resources, and services, guarantee food security, encourage farmer and fisher folk groups to band together for more bargaining power.
The conclusion about the ocean resources.
Globally, there has been a surge of interest in designating areas of sea as marine reserve to protect and conserve marine species and habitats. Crises facing marine life are increasing and attracting more public attention. Over the years, many species have been exploited or more at risk. A significant overall reduction in fishing mortality is the immediate ecosystem-based approach to rebuilding and sustaining fisheries and marine ecosystems. Oceans cover the Earth's surface. About 71% play an important role in the chemical and biological balance of the life on Earth. These are rich marine resources like minerals, oil, and marine life, and the seafood supplies meet the substantial food requirements for the world's population. If the marine life affected by pollution and if they carry pollutants in its biomass, the human population may get the impact while consuming such resources. Pollution, and to protect the marine water from the pollutants, so necessary to prevent and control this pollution. Let us save our oceans and the huge marine ecosystem. That's all the presentation. Thank you.